three. 27-10. We start the fourth quarter. Dallas in front, and Jason Garrett, true to his word, John, starters are still out there as we start the fourth quarter. DeMarco Murray not in on this play. His day may be done, but he's been playing up until this point. Joseph Randle, number 21, is in there for him. They start off at their own 6. They've gone 3 and out the last 3 times with the ball. Randle doesn't see much room to run, maybe a yard.
Look, I just told you, that I think Jason Garrett's done a tremendous job. One thing, if I could say to him, get Tony Romo out there. This is a guy who's had a bad back all year long, off-season surgery, transverse process during the year. I think this is Brandon Whedon time. Get the young kid some experience. Get Tony, most importantly, off the field.
Yeah. Still in there on another good day. On second down, coming near side, Beasley cuts in, makes the catch, and Beasley is taken down about a yard shy of the first down by David Amerson. One thing I should point out, we're talking about Coach of the Year. I got a tweet that if we missed this one, Bill O'Brien has got to be in that conversation, especially if Houston makes the playoffs. They haven't had a quarterback for the most part of this year. So I want to throw that out there.
You take tweets in the broadcast booth, huh?
Well, I was reading them, seeing what's going on around the league. Trying to be multitasking, John. That's what Jason Garrett is looking at. And by the way, those Texans just took the lead 21-17. So there you go. Still plenty of time in that fourth quarter left. Third down. A lot of time. Romo over the middle, and that should be good enough for a first down.
I'll tell you one thing Houston's getting, that defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is. Pete Macheska, our producer, asked me to put together my list this week. There is no discussion. J.J. Watt, hands down, one of the best defensive years I've ever seen. He's even scoring touchdowns on offense. He'll get some MVP votes.
Pretty impressive. They're on their third quarterback, too. Right now, the way the scores are, again, way to go. But Texans are in the playoff seat. Romo on the fake, rolling out. Thinks about going deep, but Kerrigan blew that out. Comes back, intercepted. He was looking for Randle, but it's picked off on the play by Jackson Jeffcoat. First career interception for Jeffcoat.
It looks like Romo's going to pull one out of his hat. Just a fabulous move to reverse out of there. Spots Randle, and that's a really athletic play by Jackson Jeffcoat. Because Tony Romo, I thought, had made a terrific play, but Jeffcoat comes out of nowhere to get the interception.
This is a guy that was signed from the practice squad just December 16th, and if his name sounds familiar, that's because his father, Jim Jeffcoat, the former first-round pick, 102 career sacks, was a great player for the Cowboys. And he knows this rivalry. He once sacked Joe Theismann 5 times, but now Jackson, who was an All-American himself at Texas, had a sack last week. An interception here, and he's got Washington knocking on the door with a 1st and 10. From the third, punts, nothing there, in trouble, throws on the run and throws it out of bounds. Pressure coming that time from the rookie DeMarcus Lawrence.
You look at this play, they've got a little double move here. Griffin's going to pump. He gets back there. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I question with Robert Griffin III. It's that pocket presence. It's something you have an innate feel. You can work on it, but it's something you have an innate feel. And throughout his career, he hasn't demonstrated that.
2nd and 10. Here comes Lawrence. Gets out of it. Throwing on the run for the end zone, and it's out of bounds. Nobody there. We get a couple pressures from Lawrence, who's getting some rest. Cowboys have some guys nicked up now. Barry Church is not in there. We told you earlier, we saw Hitchens go down just before the half. He's got an ankle injury. Hayden went out, their nose tackle. So we've got a couple guys banged up in this game. Church is back in the game, though. 42 is back in. 3rd and long. Stands in there, throws, tip, intercepted at Carter again. In and out of the hands of Andre Roberts. Carter has his 2nd interception, and the Cowboys take over. Trent Williams is down in pain, the Pro Bowl left tackle.
And credit this pick to this man, Orlando Scandrick. Watch Scandrick break on the ball, and Bruce Carter with the 2nd interception of the day.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new way to Taco Bell is here, only in the app. By State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Robert Griffin III is 1 for 8 with 2 interceptions in the red zone today. That time, John pointed out, great play by Scandrick to tip it up. Bruce Carter, his 2nd interception today. He's got 5 on the year. DeMarco Murray is back in the game.
Kevin, you take a look at that last interception. Nothing wrong with the decision. It just needs to happen quicker. You got to throw the ball on time. Right now, that ball should be gone. Instead, he waits. He who hesitates loses in the NFL. And here's why. Orlando Scandrick, that's zone defense at its finest. You get back, you get your eyes on the quarterback, and you drive. He does, and it ends up with the 2nd interception for Bruce Carter on the day.
Romo remains in the game. Blitz coming, and Dix on the far side is Williams. We've got a game break with Joel Klatt.
All right, Kevin, and I assure you, John Lynch, Case Keenum did not wait on that throw. He anticipated 21-17 Texans, Kansas City still up on San Diego. Cleveland still up on Baltimore. The Texans would go to the AFC playoffs. They're up 21-17, Kevin and John.
That's just crazy. Craziness going on this week 17. What a story it would be for the Texans to get in.
I think a collective gasp in Kansas City as they're watching that.
Oh, for sure. And the Chargers with a great comeback win over San Francisco. Blitz coming. Romo falls back on his heels. Incomplete. He was looking for Murray. All kinds of traffic there. But the Cowboys will have to punt it away.
One thing you know with Jim Haslett is that you never know because the old saying, everything but the kitchen sink, throw in the kitchen sink. Jim Haslett is coming. That's when things are tight, whenever, Jim Haslett's going to come at you. And that's why I think you really got to be smart with having Tony Romo out there because Jim Haslett's not calling off the dogs.
Let's remember, he hurt his back in their matchup week 8 against the Redskins. And then last year in week 16, that's when he hurt his back in that game and missed week 17. Here's Roberts. Sprinting. And good return. We get a penalty, though, right at midfield. So let's see what this is. I'd like to think that DeMarco Murray...
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 82. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Like to think that DeMarco Murray's day is done, but who knows? We'll see. 89 yards for him. How about that? A little congratulations to Bruce Carter. 2 interceptions. Week 17 continues later today on CBS, out on Fox, and then tonight was Sunday Night Football on NBC. It's a first down for Washington. Coming up next on Fox, it's a biggie for the NFC North. Packers and the Lions. The winner of that one clinches the division. Jordan Reed with a nifty move. He's got a 9-yard gain. Well, John, how good are these Cowboys? I mean, they've got the NFC East. They could play Detroit or Green Bay next week in a wild card round. And we've been singing their praises today. They played a good ball game. First down at Halou. But how good are they? Are they a team that could win one, or are they a team that could win it all?
I think they can win it all, and here's why. Because I think they can play with anyone because of the style. I talked about beating people in a lot of different ways. It's a team that can play the power game. They can run the football, stay on the field. They convert at an excellent rate on third down.
Griffin the third in trouble, and he is taken down. Jeremy Mincy has his 6th sack of the year.
Jeremy Mincy is a guy who just plays hard. He's coming from the top of your screen. Watch him work on Compton, and he just goes with the straight bull and then the finish. And that's the thing that's going to have to be the defense. You know, Jimmy Johnson said it. When they won Super Bowls, they were a #1 defense. This is not a #1 defense. They play incredibly hard. They're turning the ball over. And how are you going to match up against Calvin Johnson the likes? But provided they can do that, I like them to be able to play with anybody and beat anyone.
Meanwhile, coming near side to Paul for a short gain. Well, that's certainly going to be the key. But they'll at least get one home game next week. And who knows, with a little luck, maybe even get a first-round bye if things fall their way. But they need a lot of help for that.
Here's the thing, Kevin. Having played in this defense myself, back in Tampa with Rod Marinelli on that staff, Monty Kiffin, you don't live in man-to-man against a guy like Calvin Johnson. That's when that Tampa 2 comes in handy. To go along with that, though, you better have that pass rush. And they do it in waves. They don't come with one guy with 10-plus sacks. They come at you in waves.
3rd and long. Griffin III sets up a screen. It's Halou. Good block. First down. Good patient running by Roy Halou Jr., who's been a real good receiver out of the backfield since he's come into the league from Nebraska.
Just to finish that thought, as you see Halou go on the screen, it's just good running on the screen, good design, Chester out front. A nice gain for the Redskins, but just to finish that thought, I like what Tony Romo said. See Halou take the draw, making people miss.
Well, play-by-play, John. I like it.
How about it?
Throw it in there.
I'm trying to get this thought out. But Romo said, we're going to be good for a while. And I agree, because when you're good up front, which they are, you see this offensive line, that's the foundation of your team for years to come. They're going to be a good football team with Tony Romo, that offensive line, the skill they have around it. And I think this defense is one pass rusher away from being dominant.
Griffin III back to throw. Nice catch over the middle. It's Santana Moss, the veteran, inside the 10. And his first catch today for Moss. He's been here an awful long time, 14th year in the league. And this is a longtime rival. But for Moss, he's been the guy that's been so front and center for this team for over the years, but that's just his 8th catch of the year. Here's what started this. Wilcox coming in, get a little nasty with the headgear.
Well, and here comes Sean Laval to knock him off the pile, and that's just good football. Guys going at it and competing until the end.
From the 8, a 2nd down.
Hey, Rhino!
Trying to make this a 10-point game. Griffin III looking near side, completing near side to Reed. Helmet off, and he's in, but he's got to stop. Play is over when the helmet comes off. That's the old Jason Witten rule. So that won't be a touchdown. Play's dead when the helmet comes off. So this is not a touchdown. I don't know what the discussion is.
I should have used that tactic more often. Just tear off the helmet. Unfortunately, that wasn't a rule that I was playing. But Jeff Heath gets the helmet. At that point, the ball is dead. Good catch by you, Kevin.
Well, John, we have Mike Pereira back in L.A., so I just study his Jedi ways.
There was no touchdown on the play. The play was over when the runner's helmet came off. The play was dead. Personal foul, tackling by the helmet opening. Defense, number 38. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Now, just because the helmet came off doesn't automatically make it a penalty. And I disagree with the penalty.
Yeah, you got 50% of it right. Right call to blow it dead, not a penalty, but 2 yards different.
The helmet just came off. He didn't grab the helmet. Nonetheless, here it is, 1st and goal. Halou has it, tackled immediately. Nowhere to go. It was brought down by Kenneth Boatwright. And we get an injury, another one on the offensive line. Tom Compton, who just moved to left tackle from right tackle for Williams, and that's Tyrone Crawford. That is a guy that Dallas cannot have hurt. He's been tremendous at defensive tackle. So they tend to the injuries, and we'll take a break. under 7 to play.
Today's game is sponsored by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The next big thing is here.
Tyrone Crawford came out of this game and appears there to be all right. He's been so good in the middle of that defense. Meanwhile, Tom Compton, right tackle, just moved over to left tackle when Trent Williams went out. He's now out. So Spencer Long, a rookie from Nebraska, number 60, comes in.
Crawford's so critical. He plays that under tackle position, the one that Warren Sapp made famous in our defense. And he's no Warren Sapp, but he's given them a big boost. And that's the position that can most affect an opposing offense, the penetration, just wrecking opposing schemes. Crawford's done a nice job of doing just that.
And so a 2nd and goal from the 2. They'll throw it. Looking, nothing there. Coming back left. Griffin the 3rd. Touchdown. And now they get a flag on the play as some more pushing and shoving breaks out.
If you're a Cowboy player right now, you got playoffs next week, and you got to be very, very careful that you don't do something silly that will cost you a game. Orlando Scandrick going at it right now with Santana Moss. You got to be careful and keep those emotions in check. There's Orlando Scandrick. He looks like he just got out of a fight, and he did.
Well, you're right, John. I mean, you don't want to do anything that's going to give yourself a suspension and miss a playoff game at this point.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 88. Correction. Offense, number 88. Blindside block. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Well, you saw the blindside block by Pierre Garçon, and then Scandrick, who was coming across the field, saw it. He's coming to his teammate's aid, but at that point you have to be smart. And I understand sticking up for your teammate, but you got so much at stake if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Washington's going home after this week. Dallas, they're moving on, and there's the blindside block by Garçon. Here comes Scandrick to give him a piece of his mind.
Especially at this point for Washington, they've got nothing to lose. Dallas with everything to lose, but they get on the board. It's only a 10-point game. They've had some positives with their offense in the second half, despite the 2 interceptions. Still Cowboys by 10, 6:45 to play. This rivalry goes back a long time. It's the 110th meeting between these two clubs ever since the Cowboys came into the league in 1960, and there have been some great games, a couple of playoff matchups where Washington has won both, and guess what? They're still feisty.
Some things never change, and I'm all right with that. You like guys sticking up for the team, but again, just got to be smart. Pierre Garçon says, Coach, I swear I didn't do anything. Eye in the sky doesn't lie, Pierre.
Yeah, you could see how that one escalated. So after the penalty on that block, Redskins kicking here. Look for the onside kick from the 10. No, they're going to kick it off. But they try the onside. Harris back to the 10. Wayne Harris, good move and a good return all the way out to the 33. Let's check in with Pam.
Hey there, Kevin. You guys have talked a lot about, the starters coming in and staying out of the game or when they're coming out. I'll tell you what I'm seeing down here is a whole bunch of enthusiastic players. You don't see anybody dreading it or, interested in coming out. You're seeing a lot of players working together, the coaches involved, the players involved with each other, and these guys seem to be enjoying themselves. They're loving it. Meantime, just an injury update. Tyrone Crawford, he fell on his knee, but they say he's fine. Back to you.
Yeah, that's excellent look. It gives you an idea. So it's not just Garrett's thought, it's the whole team buying in. And they're still out there, these starters. Here's DeMarco Murray. Got the football running right and a good run, and we get a penalty. coming from the secondary. Murray's at 89 yards rushing and a touchdown. Remember, he started the year with 8 straight 100-yard games, a new NFL record. If you just tuned in, now the Cowboys single-season leader.
Illegal use of hands. Defense, number 53. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
You watch DeMarco Murray with the finish on this run. And that's why you got to think, I mean, they aren't going to back off. You got to protect them from themselves.
We'll take a break. Cowboys with the football, up by 10. You look at Cowboys, big 3 today. Romo looking back at the days of Aikman. Dez looking back at the days of Irvin. And then DeMarco Murray looking back at the days of Emmitt Smith. A lot of similarities there. Jimmy Johnson told us when he joined us earlier. These guys putting up Mondo production. Bryant now with the best touchdown season by a receiver for the Cowboys. Murray beating Emmitt Smith's old mark, and Romo making a case for an MVP. Murray 4 yards away from 100. Trying to cut back his field, and he's taken down. Good tackle despite the stiff arm. In the back was Justin Rogers bringing him down. Got a penalty on this play too.
I'm wondering if they're going to get DeMarco Murray for the stiff arm, getting his hand up in that face mask.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense, number 29. 15-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Look at him switch the ball to that left hand, and you're allowed to stiff arm, but then if you put your hand in there and push it off.
Yeah, you can't twist the head like that. Also interesting is that there was a play earlier in the game too where he tried to switch to his left hand and then decided against it. He carries predominantly right anyway, but I wonder just with that left hand, it's still so sore. He's still got the stitches in from the surgery.
No doubt, but that's what he said. Why he likes to put it in the outside hand for the stiff arm. It's a great weapon. There's that hand shaking it off right now.
It's gotta hurt. Final game for Santana Moss. 1st and 25 after the penalty. Just over 6 minutes to play. Cowboys by 10. All their starters remain in the game. Get it to Beasley. Trying to follow some blocks. Cowboys all over it. The AFC wildcard changes by the minute. Another change. Let's go to Joel for the update.
All right, Kevin, here we go. Back to Baltimore. Joe Flacco heating up. This time he finds Aiken. 2-yard TD score. They're up by 10. Kansas City still up over San Diego. It means Baltimore will go to the AFC playoffs right now, at least. Kevin John will keep you updated.
Yeah, Joel, I have a feeling we'll be back to check in. That's changed a lot. But with a 10-point lead with 3:44 to go, the Ravens in good shape. And KC's held that 19-7 lead almost all day over San Diego. 4-man rush. Romo throws far side to Bryant, who had 2 touchdowns in the first half. Been relatively quiet here in the second half. But that will put him, I believe, over 100 yards on the day. Let's see. Here's what you're looking at. Murray's going to win the rushing title. 16 touchdown catches, breaks Terrell Owens' single-season record. And Bryant now at 99 yards for the day. This will be a 3rd and 16. Again, a 4-man rush. Romo steps up, gonna let it fly, looking for Terrence Williams. He's got it inside the 10. What a throw by Tony Romo.
What a throw is right. That's a couple of things. First of all, work in the pocket. Terrence Williams, the double move. And Tony Romo, watch this ball drop in there. You cannot throw it any better. Unbelievable throw by Tony Romo, who bought time by working the pocket, finding the soft spot. And what a throw by Tony Romo.
A 50-yard dime to Terrence Williams. You just couldn't put it any more perfectly than that. And a 1st and goal. Murray tries to bounce it to the outside and gets shoved out of bounds right around the 6. And he's over 100 yards for the 12th time this year.
What I'm saying, I keep saying it, DeMarco Murray's not backing off, nor is Rashad Breeland. And so this is the danger, but Jason Garrett, he's pressed all the buttons, the right buttons this year. I may not agree with it. Jimmy Johnson may not agree with it, but Jason Garrett's in charge, and he's been great all year. But keeping these guys in, I don't know, but it's working.
Remember you said earlier, last couple games, he hadn't had that, shown that same ability to break through the first tackle. He is trying to hammer people today, man.
Oh, he is.
He had a 32-yard run, which broke the record earlier, and had 100 even on the game. 12th time this year. Remember, he had 8 straight to start the year.
So much for resting him. 20 carries.
43 yards after contact for Murray. And a 2nd and goal now for the Cowboys. They try to put the finishing touches on this one. They're going to throw it for Williams, incomplete. Try to hit Williams on the slant, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
But another illustration why this formula works so well. DeMarco Murray's in there. You have to load the box to stop the run. Little miscommunication there, but Terrence Williams had the one-on-one, and maybe that's why DeMarco Murray stays in, because he is mad he's coming out.
How do you not like that?
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
So instead they bring in Lance Dunbar on a 3rd and goal. Blitz. Picked up initially, but here comes Kerrigan. Romo throws it. He's getting hit. It goes out of the end zone. Kerrigan wanted a hold there. And he may have had a case, but he certainly made the play.
That's a really good job by the defense. I'm thinking they're bringing the house, the old casino blitz. Look at everybody edging up. Not so fast. They back out. That causes Romo to reload, and then Ryan Kerrigan chases him and makes him throw it away. Nice defensive play and coverage by Rashad Breeland on Escobar.
And so now Dan Bailey will try a field goal. It's be a 23-yarder. Another big game for DeMarco Murray. Would make it a 13-point edge. And it's up and good. 23-yard field goal for Dan Bailey. And it makes it a 13-point lead for Dallas.
Look at DeMarco Murray. He inflicts punishment, and he'll take some because of the way he runs. He's not just going to go down for the defense, but he seems to love it. What a competitor. Single season rushing record, and boy has he earned it this year.
You know, I go back to a story, and you saw his reaction when he got taken out for the 3rd down package. Jason Garrett was telling us a story about Zach Martin in the Colts game, wasn't he? Zach has been battling a bad ankle injury, and they were up, what, 35-0 in that 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it was, I believe it was about the Philly game, and that's when he had sprained that ankle. Right. And Jason said, all right, it's time for you to come out. Great game. How you feeling? I'm feeling great. And he ran right on the field, and Jason said, I tried to pull him out.
He didn't give him a chance.
So, but you know what? We're talking about a special attitude, and you talk about all the skill, but maybe the intangibles, what this team has going for it most. You got guys that are playing with pain. You got guys like DeMarco Murray playing 6 days after surgery. That's something special about this team, the toughness. And Jason Garrett preaches it all the time. This team has it.
That's really what today was all about, at least in his mind, and I think it's paid off the way they've played. Here's Niles Paul going to bring it on out. And Washington has the football down 30-17 with 3:25 to go. It's time today to honor this man, Bob Stenner. 50 years producing football. And of course, you may not know it, but he was the man behind the great Summerall and Madden combo. Had the mustache then, doesn't anymore. He will not be in the television truck anymore. He has trained so many greats that are doing it today, and he'll keep doing it. He's going to stay on at Fox for a long, long time. And we want to say thank you to Bob. 50 years producing, John, and being the best at what he does. And he won't be in the TV trucks anymore, but he'll be with us, and he's just amazing at what he does. So thank you, Bob. Incomplete to Santana Moss.
Yeah, I just echo that sentiment. I've known Bob for a long time as a player. He used to come in production meetings. He'd ask some strange questions, but he always wanted the story behind the story. And since I've been in this business, he's never produced one of my games, but he's always got a little call. You did this well. And Bob Stenner's left a huge imprint on our network, on the entire game of football. And we thank you, Bob, and we wish you best moving forward at Fox.
He's always made it fun, that's for sure. But made him great. Tripping the third back, and he gets taken down. The fumble ball is out, and it's a touchdown. Anthony Spencer finds himself in the end zone. It was Terrell McClain who delivered the hit.
Jay Gruden irritated because, as I mentioned earlier, you have to know when to say when as a quarterback. And sometimes you're going to get sacked, but you better protect that football. 2 cardinal sins at the quarterback position by Robert Griffin III right there, and it results in a touchdown for the Cowboys. Right here, you pump. If you don't, you better get rid of it. McClain hits him, ball out. Here's what Robert Griffin III's seeing. Sometimes everyone's covered. Get rid of it. Move in the pocket. If all else fails, secure that football. That football is precious. He doesn't. Anthony Spencer is dancing as a result.
And they're going to look at this as they do all turnovers. You know, you go back to his rookie year, John, and Robert Griffin III has always fumbled. You know, he's a runner, and that's been a part of it. But he didn't throw interceptions that first year, and the turnovers are part of the issue with him now the last year. I'm not saying that was all his fault, obviously. He had a ton of people there, but there's a lot to be worked on for Jay Gruden in his first year of a 5-year deal as a head coach. He's got a lot to clean up for a Redskin team that has finished last 6 times in the last 7 years.
They've got big issues. They've been hit by the salary cap, penalties, and that really set this team back. But the instability at the coaching position, you know, and look, Jay Gruden this first year hasn't been great, but there's been a lot of issues to deal with. And in my mind, you got to stick with them. You got to let this ride out. And Robert Griffin, he's making it tough because we've seen the good today, but we've seen the bad that gives you pause to wonder, is he the guy moving forward? And part of the issue, they gave so much up. I mean, a lot of people didn't like it when Jeff Fisher sent everybody that they drafted as a result of that trade out. A lot of good players in that list.
Yeah, there is. You know, when they played the Rams, that he kind of sent all the captains, the players that were in the RG3 trade, the players that they ended up drafting with the picks. And that's the thing. They invested a lot in him, and they've got to make a decision whether to bring him back, because Jay Gruden's coming back. He's got a 5-year contract. He's not going anywhere. And, you know, I think the tough thing, and Gruden admitted this to us, is you really have a year with no progress because of the dislocated ankle that cost him to miss so much time. And then when he came back, there was some struggle. You have a year where you didn't make any evaluation. You couldn't. How can you? So you've got 3 guys all at quarterback, and that's what you got. And since 1999, that's when Daniel Snyder took ownership of this Washington team. 8 coaches. That's a lot. And you see it's obviously more than anyone else in the division.
And you need continuity. You need stability in this league. Credit Jerry Jones. He's stuck by this man right now. Now we're talking to him for the coach of the year. You know, if you find the right guy, if your instinct tells you you got the right guy, stick with them. And I believe they'll do that with Jay Gruden. You just never know because of that history.
Griffin III coming near side. It's Reed, the tight end, makes the catch, shot across the 30. It's a first down. Hey, you know, 3, 8, and 8 years. And, you know, let's remember, Jerry Jones gave Garrett a big deal as an offensive coordinator. He targeted him as the next guy all along, and he never wavered. And you know, there are times when Garrett didn't look all that, you know, sexy to the media, but you know, Jerry Jones stayed with him, and it's paying off this year. I think there's another factor in this, too. On a first down, they're going to set it up to Halou Jr. And he is up near the 40 for a gain of 8.
Kevin, I hate to spend other people's money, but things are getting expensive for Jerry Jones because Jason Garrett's coaching his tail off. Des Bryant's playing his tail off. You look at this draft choices, these draft selections, Jerry Jones has done a tremendous job.
Here's the thing. We're talking impact players, right? Just look at the sheer numbers of who the Cowboys have drafted that are stars right now for them. That is the difference. with the salary cap, and both these teams were hindered over that salary cap. It's impossible to be a contender unless you draft well, and quite frankly, Washington has not.
Absolutely, and what a bonus that years ago they picked this free agent quarterback out of Eastern Illinois. You know, Sean Payton was a big proponent and, you know, had gone to school there and said, bring him down, bring him down. They got Tony Romo. They went to him, and Jason Garrett, I thought, said it best. I don't know if this is his best year, but he's never played better.
Yeah.
And I agree.
It's a 3rd and 2. And a fire, and Santana Moss has it for a first down across midfield and out of bounds. Maybe Santana Moss's last catch. 13 yards at least for Washington.
You're talking about playing at a high level for a long time. This guy, one heck of a competitor, Santana Moss. I played against him many times, and you always had to be ready to play. You always knew where Santana Moss was in your game plan.
John, over 10,000 yards in his career, 66 touchdowns. He's had a great career. On first down, pressure comes where they set it up with the screen. Going to give it to Moss again, and Moss fighting his way down to the 43. And that'll take us down to the 2-minute warning. Talk Cowboys here today. Jason Garrett loving it. They're staying hot going into the playoffs. Flat out dominating December for Dallas. I mean, not only wins, but blowout wins, and the offense. Nearly 40 points a game. First time ever that the Cowboys have had 37 or more points in 4 straight games. Ever.
It's supposed to be a W.
No, it will be.
Illustrated doesn't work.
Or
maybe my handwriting doesn't work.
In a matter of a moment, it will be. With 2 minutes to go, Washington football, 2nd and 5. Robert Griffin III is slinging out to Reed. The boys, the tackle fumbles the football. It's loose. Cowboys just recovered. Looked like it was J.J. Wilcox who recovered. Cowboys will take over and have a chance to cinch the victory.
You know what this is, though? It's that hustle. It's the effort that you talk about this defense. Look at the interior line coming. Ball downfield. Here comes the posse. That's Tyrone Crawford, the 3 technique, the under tackle that is running downfield and hits that ball to get it out. That's tremendous effort and hustle, and that's what gives this defense that doesn't have a bunch of stars an opportunity to do something special in the postseason.
I want to thank those of you who've been watching a ton of the games that have ended from earlier, including the Texans win over Jacksonville, along with Pam Oliver, John Lynch, I'm Kevin Burkhardt here in Landover. The Cowboys are on their way to an undefeated road record. They have been terrific all day. This is the first time the backups are in. They played the starters all day long. Brandon Weeden in. Here's Randall, right up the gut. Backups in, same result, touchdown. 65 yards and no flags. On a day DeMarco Murray breaks into the Cowboys record books, Joseph Randall wanted a piece of the action too.
Joseph Randall says, I can do this too. DeMarco Murray, going to give him some dap. Jim Haslett, he committed everybody to stop that run. So there's no safety in the middle of the field. And once he breaks Joseph Randall, that first wave, he's gone.
Jason Garrett told us it was 07. That taste in his mouth when they had wrapped everything up and they came here and got beat up. They didn't want it to happen again, and it's not.
No safety right there, Kev. You get through the guys in the box, and it's out the door, and it's Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. 2 of those guys going to the Pro Bowl along with Tyron Smith. That offensive line paves the way, and all Randall has to do is find that hole, break 1 tackle, and he is gone. This team can run the football and run it well.
174 yards rushing now. Randall with the big run. DeMarco Murray, another 100-yard game for him and a touchdown. It's all working for Dallas. and exactly what Jason Garrett wanted. That toughness factor to stay hot, continue to play well. Starters have been in, they've all played well, and they're going into the playoffs on about as hot as a mode as you can possibly be. And the big three today, all big games.
Telling you, we asked Jay Gruden what he thought about this team, talking about Dallas's prospects. He said, they've got everything it takes to do a lot of damage, and went on to mention they've already gone up to Seattle, so that confidence moving on. They've beat some of the best teams in this league. Jason Garrett has done a fantastic job, and he's got a big smile on his face, as he should.
Well, John, we told you about the teams joining us today. The Ravens today won. The Chiefs beat the Chargers, so the Ravens are in the playoffs. They're going to get that spot in the AFC. Wild early games going on. The Cowboys are in. They can get a first-round bye or first-round seed with a lot of help later in the late games. Right now, we know they're in. And for more with 7-Game Break with Joe Klatt.
All right, Kev, we've got a huge one coming up this afternoon. Green Bay hosting Detroit as Aaron Rodgers tries to lock up the NFC North. A first-round bye also on the line for Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. It's America's Game of the Week. It's next, and it's on Fox. Kevin and John.
And Joel, the Cowboys could see one of those teams next week. Today's game being produced by Pete Macheska, directed by Artie Kepner. The Associate Director, Eric Mandia. Broadcast Associate, Tyler Dare. Technical Producer, Clyde Taylor. Technical Director, Tom Maslak. Pre-game show produced by Bill Richards and directed by Stephanie Medina. Audio, Jeff Cohen doing a fantastic job. Jeff Nelson on the stats. Mitch Smith, Bill Harmon, our spotters up in the booth, and a tremendous crew that, John, we are lucky to work with all year long.
We sure are. Some of the best in the business, and they make it fun to come to work every single week.
Our camera folks who travel with us, Mike Tatamir on the low end zone, Dan Steele, Grant Dobbins, who's usually up here in the booth, Keith DeSantis. There's Keith, Rick Franklin and Tate. Mike Abdullah back there too, and Scott Valor. We all travel every weekend. And don't forget Diana Caputo back there too.
Offense,
we get a
number
penalty
82.
here.
5-yard penalty. Still second down.
We have Justin Galitas back there, typing up all the numbers you see on the screen, along with Josh Weingrad. 17 weeks go by in a blur, don't they?
Dobby.
Dobby's outside today.
Braving the elements.
Aaron Combs is our first down lineman. Mike Marini behind the scenes. Johnny, there's a lot of work that goes in that makes us try and look good.
No doubt.
Here with Pam Oliver every week in front of the camera, but so much happens that if you saw, you'd probably be amazed. That's for sure. Tell you who's amazed right now, Cowboys fans, because their team is red hot. And for Washington, while you saw some positives, got a lot to think about going into this offseason.
I'm flipping the script on you as we close here today. Tony Romo, you think MVP? Aaron Rodgers, MVP.
Boy,
someone else.
That's really tough. How about this? We'll see how Aaron Rodgers plays against Detroit when we make that call. But Romo is right there in the decision. DeMarco Murray going to be the rushing champion. And that'll do it here from Landover, Maryland. The Cowboys finished the year undefeated on the road. They win the NFC East, and they are red, sizzling hot going into the playoffs with the destruction of their rivals here today.